douche. Here we go, engaging with my +1, and what +1 means against Zerg is that you can kill them in one shot, and I'm not wasting force fields, although it would be very effective against Zerglings, because I want to save barrier for Marines, because it reduces all their damage by 2, and once they get through the Zealot's shield, if the Zealots are force fielded, they would actually only do 3 damage a shot to the Zealots, which is pretty nice. I have so many Zealots. Here we go, lots of Marines versus these Zealots. Force fielding and getting in there with my Zealots. You'll see I'm moving next to my Zealots, so they will be protected by that force field. Marines going down very easily, not killing too many Zealots, but I'm continuing to try to pump out the Zealots down here where I am getting attacked by Lings, but I just cannot morph in enough Zealots. My money is too low. And where are those Void Rays? Look at Zai's money. Iris sent his money to Zai, but he thought it was me. Just imagine what I could have done with 1,500 more minerals with this many warp gates. We would have easily been able to fend off this attack just because these Zerglings aren't upgraded like my Zealots are. With that one attack, Zealots would do very well against them, especially with this little choke. These Marines might have been another problem, but I have a feeling if I was able to warp in 2 waves, including a couple sentries, that we would have been able to destroy that force, or I would have rather. But I am doing very well in the main bases. In the meantime, still 2 sentries alive, taking out these Marines very easily. Is he going to kill this Zealot? No, not enough. But the Zerg player is down. This red player is going to go down as well. I even have the help of the Void Rays to pick off the barracks or the command center, so they can't fly away simply because of these Void Rays. So very smart move on Zai's part to save these and try to mop up whatever buildings do try to fly away. And finishing off the red base, but this is going to be a building race at this point, people. All I have is 1 cyber core, 3 pylons here, and I do have this. I set up a pylon hidden in between this brush. Of course, it won't matter that it's hidden, because once they kill my Nexus, which they have, it's going to be revealed. They're going to see that. I know this, and I am running back to try to protect this pylon. I was so afraid right now that they were going to rush in, kill this pylon before I could get there, but luckily I am able to get there in time. So what it's turned into right now is me trying to protect this pylon while Zai roams the entire map and tries to kill every building that he can, because at this point this force of Lings and Marines isn't enough to deal with this huge force of 1 upgraded Zealots with these sentries, just because sentries are such a great counter against both Zerglings and Marines. And it looks like they see this pylon, they're going to run and try to finish it off, but be met by my force of huge force of Zealots running in there. No, it's just not going to be enough. Force field or barrier going down on my Zealots, tearing apart those Marines in just a couple, or Zerglings in a couple seconds, and those Marines. Cannot speak. So many tier 1 units, I keep getting them mixed up. And so their force is dead. If we check out the unit tab, Blue has about 20 Marines. He's got a lot of them up here dealing with the Void Rays. Some of them scattered down here, and 1 in my old base. And he also has a command center, so we're going to have to destroy this as soon as we can. We know that red is out of the game, but we aren't sure about teal, if he had a hatchery or not, if he had built something. And we know that blue has this command center down here. And if we look here, I've got 15 Zealots to 20 Marines, and that's pretty much the extent of anyone's forces. Zai going down to finish off that blue base. Marines coming in. I don't think they're going to try to engage my Zealots, but this Zerg player is building up with quite a few drones. He is building a spawning pool, and so if we don't deal with this soon, it might be a problem. Marines just throwing themselves away at these Zealots. A bit of mismanagement right there. I didn't do the attack command, and this is when we know Incubus is out of the game completely. And Zai is finishing off this blue Terran, and at this point, if we look at my vision, I don't know like what I can do. If I can leave this pylon, if I can run like half my Zealots and half my sentries. Do they have like 20 Marines left? Do they have 1 Marine left? At this point, I felt uncomfortable moving away from this pylon. Just a couple Zealots here scouting the base. I even have a couple tearing down this wall to find any expansion there. But if only I had hacks and could see the entire map and know that I could just leave 5 Zealots here and be just fine. It would have been a lot more easy to find this Zerg base, which is building up quite nicely at this point with 2 hatches, Queen coming out, and he's going to be getting a lot of Zerglings. So we were just tied down by this pylon. It really prevented us from moving out, and I even put a couple zealots on the high ground just because if he put some marines there, he could shoot at it from there. So we'll see if that pays off. Rock's almost going down. Another base being put down by the Terran player, and look at the Terran player's money. 3,000 minerals, and the red player actually sent the Zerg a lot of money. The blue player should be sending Zerg a lot of money, in my opinion. Just put down a couple more hatches, maybe a baneling's nest for the zealots, and just pump the banelings and try to win the game that way. But Zai has spotted this new blue Terran command center. Unfortunately, the blue player still has 2 SCVs. Zai is forced to run from these marines, and you'll notice earlier I said in chat, are you guys going to lose? Because they were talking smack earlier about the GG and that sort of thing. So at this point I thought we had a good chance at winning, so that's why I just kind of retaliated. So we'll see if that comes to bite me in the ass, talking a little bit of smack like that. And if you don't like my smack talk, then you don't have to watch my channel, so get your candy ass out of here, please. I just said that. 3 zealots coming in, going to support those void rays in taking out this command center. Still protecting my pylon. Doesn't look like they're going to go for any drastic all-in assault on this pylon. Looks like they're just going to try to build up. Command center is taken out, and I am running back up this hill. No, looks like I'm going to run to the east side, take out this orbital command, also known as just a normal command center. Kind of looks like an orbital command once you're building it like this, though. That's going to be destroyed very fast by the combined efforts of the Void Rays with Super Beam and my Zealots. But there are just so many Zerglings. 3 queens. He has so much money. Why isn't the Terran player feeding the Zerg player minerals? I don't know. These guys are terrible. So you can't really expect too much from them. And this is the first time we do see this Zerg base. 3 queens for those Void Rays. So nice pumpage of the queens there. 3 Zealots coming in as well. Still protecting this one pylon. And blue player, of course, we know is revealed still, sending up marines. But luckily I had these zealots here. They get a little bit choked up, but will these marines be able to range on this pylon? I don't know, but I have 3 more zealots coming in to finish off these zealots, or these marines, and it doesn't look like they're going to be in range of it. If we look at the side view, you can kind of see that they aren't quite close enough, but it's a bit deceiving because of that high ground. Chop those zealots up, but look at all these zerglings. There are just too many. He's had this base for way too long. He even is getting hydras, so he's going to run out and try to finish off this pylon. So I'm going to say it right now, he does finish off this pylon. There are just too many lings. There's no way I can possibly stop that. I do save this pylon for a few seconds here. With a couple of force fields, he's trying to take that down. But 3 things lost us this game. First of all, terrible scouting. We didn't even see a tier 1 push, which would be so evident when we see that they aren't getting any geysers, or when the Zerg player gets 2 hatcheries. We should have seen that a long time ago. Second, Iris giving his money to Zai instead of Psy really hurt us. I would have been able to pump out a lot more zealots, and it would have been no contest, really. I might have even been able to save my base. And third, lack of scouting. We just didn't know what we could afford to send out away from this pylon, and we missed this base, which was just sitting there in the middle of everything, and that really cost us the game. But you'll see here, I do go out honorably. I know that the Zerg player is just kind of toying with me right now, running around his Zerglings. He knows they have it won, so I'm just going to end it myself. And that is GG. Kind of a bad-mannered game in the chat, but you know, everyone has them. And that's it, guys. Hope you liked that quite suspenseful game, and thanks for watching.